Good morning. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Tuesday is today is Tuesday. Yes. I'm noticing my mic is normal this morning, and I think yesterday at the end of the stream it started peaking into the red, which is the same problem that we had before. So I'm not exactly sure what was causing that, but it might be USB overload, because this is a new cable and this hasn't been abused like the other ones. And I put the old cable to my other computer for, my day job meetings to use this mic. And it's not having that problem either. So I'm thinking it's USB overload. So maybe if this happens again, and I notice it, we'll try to move it to a different port. See if maybe we could use the front port or something like that. But besides that, let's jump into what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do a video for joins, which means I think what we have in the database right now is okay. And it's basically just gonna join. We're gonna do a many join because essentially a many join includes just normal join. So I don't really think necessarily um like if you're gonna learn one, if you learn many joins, you also kind of learn just okay, that's how joins work too. And then it's the putting everything together, stitching everything together. So let's create a new project and we'll load up things. Get prepared. What was it? It's like dash name dash n for the project name. So this one we'll call it um like I guess we'll just keep on calling it. We'll call these SQLx tutorial. Let's verify our database is up, which I don't think it is right now. Let's see. So we have games, we have platforms. So it's games, platforms, and game platform. Okay, I think we're good. That feels like it's all of them. I don't know why VS Code sometimes opens up way bigger than this screen, and if I don't catch that, it's weird. Okay, we're good to go there. Everything's good. Everything's happy. So with that, we'll go ahead and begin a recording. If you haven't seen this before, during recordings, I will be paying attention to chat, but I won't be able to directly respond. I might integrate, like if you have a question, I'll see if I can integrate that into the video. Otherwise, we'll just wait until I'm done with that. I don't expect this to take too long, probably around 15 minutes or so. It depends upon how fast I'm feeling for this. So let's start with that. And we'll start with main over there. And then we'll just go ahead and get going with this. All right, here we go. Hello, in this lesson, we're going to be talking about SQLx joins. Specifically, we're going to be doing many-to-many joins, but if you can do many-to-many joins in SQLx, then you can just do normal joins too. In fact, they'll be easier and simpler. So let's go over what, well, I guess let's set up our code and set up the query, and then we'll talk about the join itself. So to begin with, I have a brand new project here, so we're gonna have to set everything up. So we're gonna do cargo add Tokyo, cargo add. We need PS SQLx. We need a cargo add .env. We need to create that .env. We need a cargo add error. Okay, I think those are all the things we need right now. Obviously, if we need more, we'll go ahead and add them. So let's go ahead and set everything up here. All right, so we have for main, we'll turn this into a Tokyo async main function. We will connect to the database. So, oh, wait, before we load up our .env. So .env, and we'll expect error loading, env. We need to pull in the environment variables, the database URL. Okay, and our expect is missing environment variable database URL. Okay, so we have that. And then what's next? Oh, we need to create the pool. I want max connections, don't go over 5. Then we'll connect with a reference to that database URI, and then we'll we await, and then we can expect, and that is error connecting to database. Okay, how is this all feeling? Good. Okay, so we've got a connection to a database. Now, even when doing these sort of like little examples or something else, I like to separate things out into different files and folders. Let's go ahead and we'll create a lib.rs, and then I'm going to create a queries .rs to put the queries into. So in lib, I'm going to mod queries, and we're going to create a run function which is going to run the query. I suppose we could even go into queries and we can create like sort of like the shell of this query that we're going to create. So we're going to do a pub async function get all. What is it? This is going to get all games and platforms. We know we're going to take in the pool Postgres, and we know we're going to turn a result of some type, probably something in the middle, but I'm just going to use I'm going to use parentheses right now because we don't exactly have the type for it yet, but we'll get there. And so we'll just return that to make it okay. And then we'll go back to library and we'll create a run function for this. We'll take in that pool. And we don't need to take anything else in. We can return a result, which I want this to be an error result. And we won't return anything in there. And so we'll just do that. And then we can call the other function here. So we can actually get the result of this. So these are the games with platforms in it. And that is queries, get all games and platforms. We pass it the pool. We can await it and question mark it. And just because we want to be able to see what the result of this is, we could go ahead and debug games with platforms out now. And I believe that, yeah, we can debug out basically an empty type, no problem. And then finally, let's go to main, and we're going to call the run function. So you don't know what that is. So let's see. We have SQLx tutorial is the name of this package. Run and hand it the pool. We await, and then we can expect. All right, so this is error running queries. Okay, that's we're ready to write our queries here. So what is the query that we exactly want to write? Let's actually dive into PSQL and just investigate that and sort of figure out what the query is. So we have 3 tables. We have our games, game platforms, game platform, and platforms. We've added in, let's see, I have for games, we have 3 games here. We have Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, and Stardew Valley. And for the platforms, we have Steam and Nintendo Switch. And so the idea here is that for our game platform, we have Baldur's Gate and Starfield are both on Steam. Stardew Valley is also on Steam, but at the same time on the Nintendo Switch. And we can see that here. So I want to basically in Rust have a game struct. And then inside the game struct, I want there to be platforms. So that's the idea. That's what we want to get out eventually. Now to get the query for all of these together, we're gonna do a select. So we can do star, but I don't necessarily think that's gonna be where we want to end up. But let's start with that. So select star from. Well, where do we want to go? We want to go everywhere, so we can start from the join table. So game platform, and then we want to join in. We want to join in games. So games on games.game ID is equal to game platform dot game ID. So if I just do this right now, that gives us, okay, we have game ID, platform ID, game ID, name. Okay, that's good. This is the name of the game. If we continue on with this, we can now join in platforms on platforms dot platform ID is equal to game platform dot platform ID. And okay, the table is getting bigger than I can actually display it here. Let's run this again and see if this is any better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, so we have our platform, we have the name of the game, and then we have the various IDs. We do have these like repeated over again. Now the specific join, I can probably like phase it out, like to phase it out. I could probably like limit that out by doing like inner joins and some other joins. We're not going to worry about that right now. This is not really a tutorial on like the different types of joins. So instead, we're just going to select exactly what we want from this. So I'm going to go to select instead of a star. We're going to do we're just going to grab what we want. So I want a game ID. So let's get from games game ID. We want the platform ID. So platforms, platform ID. I want the name. So games.name. But I also want this to be like, well, I want to know which one this is. So this is going to be games name as game name. And then finally, the exact same thing for platforms. So platforms.name as platform name. So if we run this, we now get significantly less data coming out. We see the game ID, platform ID, game name, and platform name. A lot easier to sort of see what's going on with this. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take this and do the exact same thing over in our code. So let's head over to it. So in queries, we're gonna start off by just doing a query macro, and then we'll switch it to a query as when we figure out what the data structure we want this to come in as. So we'll let these are like basically the join result, right? So results. Also, we want multiple of them, so we know there's going to be multiple rows here. Okay, so let results equals. All right, what is this? We're gonna do query, so SQLx, the query macro. And if I want a multi-line SQL query here, we can use R# and then that. Probably want something like that. Now I can just write multi-line, and it just sort of it looks a lot nicer and is a little bit easier to work with than pure like just trying to do a string or trying to do it all in one line like we had to do in PSQL. All right, so now we just write our query. So select. We're gonna start with let's do games dot game ID. We have we could do like one full thing, so like game stuff, and then the platform stuff. So then games.name as game name, platforms dot platform ID, and finally platforms dot name as platform name. Okay, so we want, oh, well, that's selecting. So then we have to from. This is game platform. We want to join. We want to join games on games dot. Okay, so games dot game ID is equal to game platform dot game ID. And then we want to do another join. So join platforms on platforms dot platform ID is equal to game platform dot platform ID. Now I'm not doing it here, but aliasing would make this a lot easier and a lot less typing, but I want to make sure it's very clear where everything is coming from and where it's going. And also, this isn't like a multi-page SQL query, so it's not completely like needed here. But just to, an alias would absolutely work here, and they work as normal, pretty much. It's just SQL. Okay, so that should work, and that should get us our results. And then we'll SQL U. Oh, we need to do semicolon in here. Now you're upset because, oh, database URL must be set. So I don't actually have that in my .env. Let's go ahead and put that in here. Database URL is going to equal to Postgres. Postgres keyboard cat at localhost 5432 SQLx tutorial. Okay. Now what? Syntax error at or near platforms. Okay, so what did I did? We have a few different platforms, don't we? So select games game ID games. Okay, so there's a comma there as platform name. Platforms is spelled correctly. From game platform, join games on okay, so that's join platforms platform ID. That should be happy. Now if I were to take this and copy it, and we just put it into our PSQL, join platforms. Okay, so it's right by the join platforms. It's so join. Oh, I don't think I need a comma here. That's what it was. I didn't need the comma there. Okay, so now we have the our join, our multi-table join set up correctly. We should be getting back results. Oh, there's not really much it knows what this is yet. So we want to return through this, and let's well, we know what's coming out, don't we? It's gonna be like that. Each row is gonna be game ID, platform ID, game name, platform name. So we have to have a struct that looks like that. So let's just create that now. It's gonna be outside of here. So we're gonna have a struct. Now this can be a private struct because we only care about it here. So this can be, these are gonna be the game platform. This is gonna have a game ID, which is gonna be an I32, a platform ID, it's an I32. It's gonna have a game name, which is a string, and a platform name, which is a string. And we can go ahead and derive debug for this. And let's go ahead and switch this to a query as, and then use this type. So this is going to be our game platform. Oh, and you know what? I completely forgot at the end of this, we want to do a fetch. I think it's a fetch all. We pass in a reference to the pool. We await and question mark you. It doesn't know what it is, but it's also not yelling at me. Let's go ahead and try printing this out at the very, well, we're actually returning, yeah, let's just print this out. So we're going to debug the results here to sort of see what we have. It's not yelling at me, so that's a good sign so far, but Rust Analyzer sometimes freaks out around macros or too many macros. So let's cargo run this and see what we have with the real compiler. All right, well, we have what we sort of wanted to have. We have now an vector. It has a bunch of game platforms in it. And normally we'd be able to say, okay, I think that we're done, except for the fact that we have two game platforms that have the same game, so the Stardew Valley, and it has just like the platform name in here. So it'd be nice if instead we had a slightly different data structure from this. Whenever this type of thing happens and we don't get the types, restarting Rust Analyzer can be really helpful and might just give us exactly what we need. But okay, what exactly type are we looking for? Let's go down and like write in what exactly we want. We want a struct. We probably want a game, and a game is going to have it's going to have an ID. That's going to be 932. We're just going to have a name. It's going to be a string, and it's going to have a platforms, which is going to be a vec of probably a platform. So then we want a struct platform, which is going to have an ID of an I32 and a name of a string, and that's it. Then here can be a platform. So this is what we want to get to, is we want to be able to return a bunch of games. So I need to be able to take this, like a bunch of these, and turn it into these. So there's a couple different ways that I've seen this solved before. We could loop through all the results, which we're going to have to do it in some capacity. So we have to loop through the results. And then for each of those, we have to basically determine, okay, have we created a game before? If we have, then let's just find that game and then add the platform to that game. And if we haven't, then let's create the game and then put the platform in that game. Now we could store the games into a vector and then return that, but I actually prefer to store them in a hash map. And a hash map. Now we can use a hash map if I don't care about the order of these games, or a B tree map if I do care about the order. We don't really care about the order in this specific case, but just be aware that a B tree map might be the best for you. And we're going to do this because it allows us to look up by the game ID, which is going to make it so we don't have to have a nested for loop, which is that's always beneficial if we could avoid nested loops. All right, so we're going to do for result in results. Now we're going to get a game platform in this. We're taking ownership of it, but that's okay because we don't really need this. It's just an intermediary step after getting it from the database. What we're really after is this here. We need our hash. We need our map here. So let's do a let mute. We're going to do games equals. I'm going to use the hash map new. It'll figure out what the key and values are going to be pretty quickly. Okay, first thing off, we need to extract the game out if it already exists in there, and if it doesn't, we need to insert it. So this is going to be let our game equals games dot. We can use entry here. Entry gets the given keys corresponding entry in a map for in-place manipulation. Perfect. And the key is going to be the result dot renew game ID. So now knows that that's going to be an I32 there. Now, what happens if it doesn't find anything? I want to do an or insert. Okay, so what are we going to insert with? We're going to insert a new game. So new game. Okay, so the ID is going to be a result.id, a game ID. We're going to have the name is going to be the result.game name. And then finally, the platforms is going to be we're going to set this to be an empty vector here. Now I know I have access to the platform right now, but because I don't know if I found it or I'm inserting it, it's a little bit easier for me to just not put it in right now. And then the very next line, because no matter what happens, if we find it or we don't find it, we're going to now just insert the platform. So let's actually create a platform here. Platform. We're going to have the ID is going to be the result dot platform ID, and the name is going to be the result dot platform name. And then we can now just take this platform and insert it into the platforms inside of game. And since we have a mutable reference to a game, we should just be able to do that. So game dot platforms push platform. Okay. And that should allow us to, okay, so we're going to loop through. For every single game, we're going to either insert it into the map or we're going to get a previous one out. When we're getting it out, we're not having to loop through the hash map to find it. We're instead just going straight to the ID and saying, hey, do you exist or not? So that's a very fast operation. We're creating a platform. We can blindly just throw this in because we know that there can only be a unique combination of a game and platform in there. We can't have like multiple of the exact same game and exact same platform. And then I just push that in here, and then, okay, games is set up for us, which means we can then just return this. So I'm going to go ahead and return games. And up here, we're going to set a result. We're going to make this a hash map of i32 and game. Okay. I don't see any problems here. And library, you're upset. Oh, game doesn't implement debug. Let's go fix that. We will make, if game needs to, then game platform is going to need to too. So add you in, add you in. Okay. And then next up, type game is private. Okay, so we need to make you public. And now you're ready. Okay, so no errors here, and we're debugging you out. So if I come back to here and we rerun you, now we see our the result of our hash map. So if we wanted to have an array, we could just return the vector essentially. So we can convert the hash map into a vector. Now hash map, as I mentioned, we lose the ordering of things, so that's something to be aware of. But that's where the B-tree map comes in, is that you could potentially use that if you wanted to keep the order. Again, I don't really care in this specific instance. And then, okay. Now I do like the idea of using a hash map. You can still get an iterator off of it. I think it's perfectly fine. If you want to make it look slightly differently, so it's not just a hash map that we're passing around, but maybe just has a different type, we can use some type aliases. So let's actually do that here, because like if we're looking at all these i32s, that kind of like, it gets a little bit confusing about like which thing we're looking at. So let's go ahead and create some types up here. So we're gonna have a pub type. So first of all, let's have games. And this is gonna be a hash map of an i32 game. And that allows us to replace you right here with this new games. Let's also replace the IDs. So pub type, we have a game ID, and that's simply just going to be an i32, and pub type platform ID is going to be an i32. And that allows us to come down here, and every time that we have an i32 defined here, we can replace this with whatever it is. This is a game ID. And that just makes it a little bit nicer to sort of see in our editor, okay, what is this type? We know that it's an I32, but now we know, okay, it is the game ID that we're grabbing out. Okay. Everything is still running, compiling with no errors. Let's go ahead and run this again. And there we go. Okay, we have our games. Our Stardew Valley has both platforms in it, and the other games just have the one platform in it. And all we have left is just some warnings that we're not reading anything from those from the structs, but we don't really have any logic to do that in this tutorial. So that's it. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye. Thank you, Unreal Realities, for the comma after the game. That was helpful. I forgot that. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I think like, do I need a comma there at the end, like after joins? It's like, no, you don't. But I forget sometimes, and I just throw it in there, and it's like, oh, now it's unhappy with me. Rebel Decibel, hello. You're one of the few programmers not using Vim actions. Have you tried them out or have some dislike towards those? Just curious. What are Vim actions? Also, I've been using Helix, so I don't think I can use Vim actions. Also, Zilby's here. So this was SQLx joins. I know, and Zilby looks so conked out and tired right now. Oh, and I can turn off that timer. Okay, so we're good to go here. You're still just starting to learn Rust, but is type just an alias for a struct, for example? A type is an alias for any, well, type, really. But you could basically just create a type at that point in time. So in that case, I did basically, okay, type name equals I32. So I'm basically just saying, okay, this new type is really an alias for an I32. So one reason that's really nice is that you can give meaning, like semantic meaning, to a type. It's sort of like a variable name, but for a type itself. It's really nice if you have like, okay, we have a struct with like 4 different IDs in it. It's like, well, they're all I32s, which is not like, then you load up your editor and it's like, okay, it requires I32, 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 and it's like, okay, this is not helpful. Now I can say requires platform ID, game ID, something else ID. It's like, oh, okay, I know exactly what this is. Okay, so we can move SQL join queries to for uploading. So we'll get that uploaded later. Means okay, so we have to figure out if there's anything else. We decided. Do I want to go back in and like do something with offline mode? I think the primary reason for offline mode is for compiling in CI/CD. I think that that's pretty much the main use for it. So basically, you can compile your code and not have your database set up for it. Do I want to do a lesson for that? I sort of feel that that's not something that most people really care about heavily for this. But we'll see about it. If it's one of those like requested things, then I can add it in there pretty easily. So I'm just gonna remove it. Okay, so that means it's we want to move into a the end of it. So like at the end of the course, I want to have some kind of assessment. Now I was thinking about using the Axum, something similar to the Axum bookstore, the bookstore API. But obviously the problem with that is that there's a huge amount of Axum that's required in order to complete that. Like you need to know all of the routing stuff. You need to know everything else for it. You need to know state. It's way too much, and I don't want to confuse people. So I'm thinking we're going to do something similar to the bookshelf API, but we'll just create it on its own. So let's go ahead and do that. This will not be a cargo temp. So we're done with that. Let's go find a place to build this. First of all, is there a new Rust? Oh, I already updated Rust. Okay. Okay. What do we want to do? Rust, we want to do a we'll call it SQL like SQLx. Do you want to make it just like a SQLx? Let's do cargo new bookstore. Oh, how about SQLx bookstore assessment? Ooh, do I want to make that not a binary application? We can make that a library that you would use inside of a code. That might work out. Okay. Uh let's try that. If I remove the main file, touch library s. Oh, I might be able to get away with putting tests in line with everything else. And then that might work too. We need touch .env. And I guess we'll start with that. So database URL, it's going to be that Postgres. Okay, so we're just gonna save that. I can jump into a library here. I also need to add in, okay, let's also start writing okay, from the assessment template, we'll go straight into writing. I probably should rename this. This is going to be, what do I call it? SQLx bookstore assessment. All right. A bunch of stuff here. Okay, assessment repo, URI, we'll figure, actually, I guess I could just push this up now. Don't want to push up that .env. Okay, git add everything. All right, this is initial commit. SQLx Rust bookstore API. Oh, I can't push. There's no repo. Repo create. We're gonna put it, yeah, SQLx bookstore. We're gonna do Brooks builds. Yes. Origin. Yes. Okay. Happy with that. So this is gonna be SQLx. Did I use underscores? I did. Bookstore assessment. Okay. Introduction to the assessment. All right. So for this assessment, we'll be taking on the role of a database I will be taking on the role of a database admin of a role where we are I guess like for this assessment, let's just, I don't like that. We've been contracted to help out our local bookstore. They're they want to build a database. Oh, so maybe they have a database. Oh no, this can also include migrations and all that stuff. So yeah, okay. So they want to build a database. They want to build a database, seed it with the books and authors they have, and create queries. Create CRUD queries. Create queries for common operations they expect to need. They are asking us to create a library. A library to do this. Can I put a workspace in a library? I can, right? We're going to find out. They're asking us to create a library that can handle the queries as well as migrating and seeding the database. All right, skills. Let's see, migrations with SQLx Rust. Seeding with SQLx Rust. I guess like a simple CRUD. So CRUD queries, SQLx Rust, and then finally joins and many to simple joins. I don't know if I need this with. That makes more sense. Okay, migrations, seeds, CRUD queries, so then maybe for like queries. We have CRUD, simple joins, many to many joins. So those are the skills that we'll be checking with this. Grading rubric. To pass the assessment, you will need to do the following. So we'll add in stuff here as we get it. So that means it's time for us to start creating the solution here. So what I like to do is I like to just build the entire thing out the way it's supposed to be at the end of it. And then we'll just delete the stuff that the learner is supposed to be doing as part of the assessment, and then we're good to go. Okay, so first off, I want to actually verify if this is actually something that we can do. I want to see, can I? Let's also create this before I forget. Can I create a workspace inside of a library as opposed to just a binary? I think that I can. I don't think there's gonna be a problem with that, but it's something good to know. Otherwise, we will use a binary project for it. Okay, so we have use in here. Let's do see, the first thing to do. To reset the, let's drop the database. So I can actually use SQLx database. Oh, that's where it is. Reset drops the database specified in your database URL, recreates it, and runs. Okay, so I just want to drop this. Drop database, yes. And then we're going to create database. Okay, so you should be reset, and we have like a very basic database now. Okay. Let's let's create the migrations first. I'm not 100% sure how I want to like do. Can I do automated testing for this? I don't know. I may not be able to. That might be okay. It might be one of those things where it's like, okay, I have to take a look at it, or you have to like trust that it works. And maybe it's just like practice. If you just get this on your own, I don't. I guess like there, eventually I'll be able to do a way for automated testing. Right now I don't have that. Okay, so let's cargo new. Call this migrate. Wait, no, I don't create the migrate myself. We use SQLx for that, I think. SQLx migrate init. Oh, I just start adding a new one. So SQLx migrate add. Okay, so I want for this, we want we should add in here. You're curious how far along we're thinking that the course is. How long do you estimate before the release are able to purchase? So for the SQLx, I'm on the final stretch. So I'm thinking that I'll be able to have this assessment done by the end of the week, which means that next week I should be able to do. What I want to do is next week sometime is like say, hey, anybody who wants to do a trial run of this for a cheaper than like a full price would be. Let's set that up and get it scheduled and start moving that. So I want to start doing that next week. I'm probably gonna do it for a smaller group of people, and it might take us some time to like sort of figure out times on it. And then and then after that, I'll be able to run more of them more often, at like more full price, if that makes sense. And then we can start like going back into like, okay, creating like the Axum course and doing some other stuff, so that way I can uh we can sort of like run these every once in a while and then also build out the next course. All right. So I will announce that I'll probably announce it first on Discord. And I want to run one where it's like a test run essentially. So that's gonna be like a, hey, I still feel like I'm gonna give you value. So for like cheaper than full price, we're gonna run this, but I want to give like people that have already like part of the community first chance at that. And then we're gonna like the next one I'll open it up more. Awesome. Perfect. If you want to join Discord for that, here's the link to it. I don't know how many people right now. Like my initial thought for something like Axum, that would have been like 5 people, but I think for this one I could do more. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I also want to run it for just like a weekend or so, just a few days. Um, so I don't think it will be. I think it will be easier to handle multiple people. Sylvie, you look so tired. He looks like he barely hold his eyes open. Um, Freedom Dow, hello. How are you doing today? SQLs migrates add. Okay, so let's create. All right, so I want. All right, so that. All right, so we're inside of here, so we're gonna put in database structure. So like data. The bookstore has the following. Okay, the bookstore has the following data that they want to create to okay, so the bookstore has I guess like the bookstore has authors and books that they want to store in the database. Please note that an author can create, so an author can author can be linked to multiple books, and a book can have multiple authors. So given this is going to require us to have a authors table, a books table, and a book authors table because it's multiple. Freedom, you're doing quite well. You did some work on a course on some course building AIs. Just working on writing AI for a lot of different kinds like movies, books. Oh, that sounds a lot of fun. Are we using SQL? Yes, so we're using SQLx, but SQLx requires us to just write pretty much plain SQL. So yes, definitely. And it's the Postgres variety. All right, so SQLx migrate, add, let's create an author first. So create authors. That should create, oh, right, because it's not actually a new thing. So it's just migrations just sitting here. That's actually okay. I forgot that it's seeds that are its own project. That's what we need to do with that. Okay, so let's jump into migrations. That. All right, so we're gonna be create table if not exists authors. We want author ID is going to be a sequence. No, it's serial. Serial. It's going to be a primary key that automatically gives it the index. It gives it a not null, and it gives it unique. Author. Okay, so we have author ID. Next up would be we need the name of the author. Wait. So what? Okay, that's interesting. My tab is giving me 2, but that's not. Wait, my tab giving me. My tab is giving me 4, but they're not aligned up, which is kind of annoying. That's really annoying. I don't know why that would be. Um. Okay, so what's your type? You're gonna be a varchar. 255. For an author, let's make sure that they can't be null. It's not null. not null, and they have to be unique. Is it unique or is it distinct? I think it's unique, right? So author ID name, that might be all we care about here. So just that. That's a pretty simple migration. Kukma, hello. Am I familiar with UUID version 7 as primary key? Yeah, I've used UUIDs as primary keys in the past. They're pretty good, especially when you don't want for one reason or another to have just a number as the ID. So I've definitely done that before. I feel like that sometimes confuses people, especially if you're not like super familiar with databases. Okay. If I A line cannot work with multi-line selections. Oh, so I have to basically do like that. And now can you align it? I guess they're already aligned now, but okay. So that's quit out of U. And then we'll do the next one. So Helix. I guess we could just run it. Okay. So that ran, we're perfectly fine. Okay, so that looks correct. We have author ID, integer, not null. Okay, so that looks right. And then name, not null. Okay. And then unique constraint on the author's name key. Perfect. All right, next up. I want to do a SQLx migrate, add, create books would be next. Seems like it can replace serial and big serial as primary key without any flaw comparing with previous version, like impossible to sort. Oh, really? Wait. So you can sort it by so that was one of the big flaws in the previous ones. So no, okay. So I'm not available I'm not familiar with version 7 then. How can it have sort abilities with UUIDs? Is there like some other metadata or something that's in the UUID somehow? It'll be in the February 2024 Postgres version. Oh, that's going to be nice then. Okay, let me see. Can I? Okay, so I can't sort by that. That would have been That would have been nice. Oh, I could sort by that. That didn't seem right. Uh, okay. Okay, so that gives us you. Okay, we can now create books. Okay, that's all created. Looks good. Then the fun one, the join table. All right. I don't know why it was doing the weird well, I guess it's just it's like a tab stop that's not really based upon like where I am in the line, which is weird. We're just gonna do two, and it's gonna be fine. I wonder if I want to switch my tab stop to 2 in Helix. Okay, so what am I doing here? So we're gonna have I don't need an ID. Let's think about this. We're gonna have an author. An author can have multiple books. So we can have, but an author can't be on the same book twice. So we're going to have a, a book. So we insert authors, we insert books, and then we say, okay, author one, you've written this book. Author one, you've also written this book. Um, author two, you've written this book. Author two, you've written that same book that the first one did. Okay. So because of that, we don't need an ID necessarily for this. What we do need is we need the author ID. And that's going to be an int. It can't be null. Cannot be null. And in my other lessons, did I set them up with references? I don't remember anymore. I don't think I did. How did did the droids just work by magic? Uh, let's see. Author ID int not null. No unique on this. But I do want to put a foreign key and then references. So let's repeat this over here. So we have book ID. It's an int, also a not null. Oh, I guess that's it. And so I just want it to be unique across these two. So we want a primary key of author ID, book ID, and then I want a foreign key. Can I do a foreign key directly in here? I don't remember. I think I can in Postgres. Stacking, hello. I mean, we put electricity in a rock and it gains the ability to count. Isn't this all kind of magic? It is kind of magic. Like as as a kid, like playing a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons or just like reading those, it's like okay, you're gonna be like a wizard who's like the wizard sits inside and like studies spells all day, and it's like oh, weird. That sounds just weird. Who would do that? Like that doesn't. How does that work? And then now it's like, huh. So if magic is like an allegory to programming, and you're basically just like storing your spells inside of a piece of paper to be like later on used, it kind of is exactly what we do, isn't it? Except it's just a rock instead of paper. Don't you ever feel like one day we're going to wake up and find out this is all an acid trip and go, what the hell was that? That would be hilarious. If oh, what was it? I didn't watch it, but there was like a long running soap opera uh that was like around a hospital, and at the very end of it they 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 did a cop out to end it, and they're like it was all a dream, none of it mattered, none of it was real. um that's sort of like what that made me think of, is like oh we'll just wake up and it's like we're like in the far future, and it turns out that one of the fun things that you do is go back and like pretend to be back during this time, and just live your life, live another life. I don't think it was Scrubs. Although, you know what? Oh, wait. I think Scrubs did do that to make fun of the real one that did it. It was like a real serious one. Like this was a long time before Scrubs that the original show did it. And I'm pretty sure that uh a lot of media doesn't do the it was a dream, because the reaction to that was so bad. It was like Boston. It was like a Boston hospital. I don't remember the name of it. I don't even think I watched any episodes, but like I heard about it, which was that's how big it was. Okay, so create. Now I think there's a way in here to do a references. References, ref table, ref column on delete. So I think I can just do that. So we'll just say references, ref tables. This would be authors, um, ref column. So that would be author ID. On delete, let's just cascade. References, this will be books, book ID, on delete cascade. Okay, let's see if this works, or if this is going to be upset at me. It ran. So let's see. Next is the S book authors. Okay, so we have our author ID, a book ID, and then we have foreign key constraints. Perfect. Okay, that makes it nice and easy. So that creates that. Okay, so this means that our database that we need the following tables. Following tables. That's gonna be books. We'll do authors first. Oh, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be we're gonna have uh, primary key, and then column name, column type. Okay, primary key. We'll have star. You'll be author ID. Column type. You will be serial. Oh, let's also throw in like not null and unique. Not null is on, and unique is on. Okay. Next up is just going to be the name. Oh, I have a space in there. Of course I do. Okay, fine. I'm not going to try to get it all nicely. It's not null and unique in here. You're going to be fine. I thought I was being so clever. But alas, it didn't work. Okay, so we have that. Next up, we have authors. The show was Saint Elsewhere, and he had to watch the ending, and yes, it was bad. Um, yeah, that was if you think that like the Game of Thrones ending caused like a major uproar, think about the fact that Saint Elsewhere was an ending that had a bigger uproar than that. And that was before the internet and social media where like it was easy to organize like protests for this. Authors. Okay, so then we have books. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna have primary key. I can actually just pull this off. Okay, so primary key, column name, column type, not null, and unique. So for author ID, we'll change you to be book ID. That'll be serial, not null, unique. And then our name is varchar, and I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. Hey, nice. Okay, that's all set up there. Book authors. Let's just grab these two right now, and then we'll fill these in. So primary key, column name is going to be book ID. Actually, let's do author ID. Author ID, int, not null, unique. Also primary key. Should I put like a foreign key on here too? I feel like I should do primary key and foreign key for that. They claim they ran out of money, so they had to just end the show with as little money as possible. That was that is a choice. It feels to me like that is a statement to just throw the writers under the bus when it's probably not the writers at all. That was probably the upper management that was like, hey, just make it a dream and go away. Or like the writers are like, I refuse to write this, or something like that. Should I put on a foreign key in here as a column? Let's align this first. Okay, so if I were to put a foreign key on, oh, which I wish I could do like that without getting the others. That would be nice. Oh, can I search along this? Oh, to okay, that works. All right, so then maybe before this, we create another bar. We do foreign key. And then if I go down one, I'm too many. Okay, so you're really unhappy now. It technically wasn't a dream. The hospital was in a snow globe, and the main character was a little boy daydreaming. Oh, that. Oh, okay. That's what it was. I've seen the end of it, and I remember the snow globe. I just thought maybe like it was just like slowing out, and it was like the mote in your eye or something like that thing. But yeah, that is a pretty the ending should probably be relevant to the rest of the show. Probably. Okay, what did I do? You're super unhappy now. So this is all. Oh, I put foreign key across everything. That's not okay. So this changes to you. And then these foreign keys become just blank. So I can replace you with that. No, replace you with spaces. This foreign key becomes that. This foreign key is also replaced with spaces. And then you're going to be changed to a star. Okay. I feel like that kind of works, although I think I have to. Yeah, all I have to do is one font lower and then make this load correctly. Okay, so now we have the table structure here. So next up would be seeds. Okay, so here I am, SQLx Bookstore, assessments. Let's create a seeds now. So we'll do a cargo new seeds. Creates a binary application seeds, which, oh, that actually is fine to create the binary application seeds. I need a workspace thing. So in this cargo toml, and I don't need dependencies from this because I just care about it working. So seeds into here. Oh, but we need to now install everything. Install everything in here that we need. Okay, so cd into seeds. We need a cargo add. Oh, and it's 8:30. It's time to end up pretty soon. Let's go ahead and add our stuff that we need. So we know we need Tokyo. We need error. .env and SQLx. Okay. And let's get out here. So it's okay. That all feels right. Oh, you know what I could do? Let's copy our .env to a .env sample. So that way it's should it be sample or example? Okay, so this would be essentially Postgres. We'll do this as username, password, domain. Or I guess I'll just change this to host, port, database. Okay, so that way we can commit this. This will be fine. Okay, so we have .env example. We have our lock file, our toml, our migrations, and the seeds. So we're good to go here. So this is created migrations. Go ahead and push that up. And that is up there right now. You should be happy too. Okay, so we get commit. Oh, I need to add stuff too. Okay, so we are finished writing. So recorded video and starting assessment. And we'll push that up. Okay, excellent. So this should all be now sort of ready for me to continue this afternoon. So I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this all here, and then we'll figure that out. So that being said, oh, I have. Let's see. Um, Hedgen is streaming. I haven't seen Hedgen stream this time in a long time. She did a lot of Rust stuff in game dev for a while. Looks like Hedgen is working on some Godot stuff. Let's go ahead and I'm trying to figure out what Hedgen is actually working in, because it's like a large complex like document. Oh, it's documentation, and so it's about Realec and other stuff. That should that could be interesting. So apparently, Hedgen is learning Godot, which Godot, if you don't know Godot, you can set up a plugin with it to run Rust with instead of everything else, which is really nice. Uh, to, so let's switch that over. Start the raid for that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out today. I've got my schedule up here, so I'll be back later today at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time to continue working on this project, this assessment. We're going to be going through everything, just sort of like slowly building out. I'm going to put in automated tests wherever I can, and then it'll be hopefully pretty good. So if I can, we'll see you then. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for more of this as well. I figure it'll probably be a few days of us writing this out before we're done. So with that, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you next time. Bye.